Hey, welcome to Mind Your Own Biz, the podcast where we help small business owners with big dreams build something authentically you. I'm Alicia Yervis, educator, marketer, designer, nacho enthusiast, and your big sister in business. I'm excited for us to have this cozy spot to chat. Each episode, we'll tackle candid conversations, actionable tips, and a few fun tangents to help you run your business your way. Because business is always personal, no matter what anyone says. So grab your iced coffee or those nachos and let's get started. Hello and welcome back to Mind Your Own Biz. My name is Alicia Yervis. I'm your host and I have a little secret today. Actually, I have a confession to make. I've fallen head over heels. Not with a person, no meet cutes here, but with something that saved me hours, reduced my stress, and honestly feels like a digital assistant I always dreamed of. Now, if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you know I have a real life human being virtual assistant, the wonderful Caitlin, who I cannot live without. But I have a digital assistant as well, and I want to talk to you about it today. So I am really excited for this quickie episode, solo episode, you and me. I need to confess to you that I'm completely obsessed with AI, and it can save you hours every week the same way it does me. So that digital assistant I'm talking about is ChatGPT. And so today's episode is part love story, part nerding out, part holy shit, you need to try this moment. Now, let me preface this by saying if you have been side eyeing the whole AI sphere and saying things like, ugh, that's not for me, I hate AI, like, I'm scared of robots, or if you're a little curious but you don't really know where to start, this episode's for you. I'm going to tell you how I got started with it. I'm going to share a few fun things you can actually try right now, like specific things you can try with ChatGPT. And I'm going to explain why this one little tool has been a lifesaver in my business and in my personal life. And yes, we're also going to talk about my upcoming workshop, Easy with AI. Streamline and save time with ChatGPT. So if you're thinking, I want this to be easy, but I want it to also sound like me, you're going to want to grab a seat. I've even got a little promo code for you at the end of the episode. So stay tuned and let's dive in. All right. So let's talk about my AI love story. So rewinding a bit, I was not always team AI. Now, of course, AI has been around a long time in various ways. Even Google is AI, you know, um, but especially in the last, 3, 4 years, I had seen the buzz, I heard the hype and all that stuff, but I kind of thought, I don't have time to figure this out. That sounds very techy. And I'm pretty tech savvy, but I have so many, you know how it is. You have so many platforms, apps, sites, all these things. And you're like, is this just another techie thing that's just gonna overcomplicate my already overwhelmed brain? I just kind of like ignored it for a while. But then when I was starting to build my first digital course, which was all about social media content strategy, I had started playing around with AI to help me get organized. Not to help me write the course or, write the content, but to help me brainstorm, to help me outline. And I gave it a try. And at the time, I was using Canva has an AI tool called Magic Write, um, where it can do all of that stuff too. And I had been trying that for a bit, and I was like fairly amazed by what it was spitting out at me, particularly with the speed. Now, as someone who has ADHD, I'm always looking for ways to, save time, make things, faster, quicker, getting more done, being able to be even more productive, all that kind of stuff. And so, but I still want it to be good quality. I still want it to sound like me. I still want it to feel right, for me and my business. But for that particular project where I was working on the course and working on all the marketing for the course and all of the worksheets and all of the timelines and strategies and videos and all these things. I had a lot of copy to write. I had a lot of content to create. I had a lot of planning to do. I had a lot of, just like so much on my plate, and I had zero brain power because I was overwhelmed with everything that goes into creating your first course. And just overworked and stressed out. A timer was running out because I knew that the doors to the course were opening soon. And I didn't have it all pulled together yet. So, like I said, I started with Magic, right? And then I was like, let me see what ChatGPT can do as well. And I just typed in something simple. And honestly, like angels sang and the clouds parted. It was amazing. And I know there's lots of chat or lots of AI tools out there now, like Claude, like certainly ChatGPT. There's all these other, ones that exist right now. So, but for all intents and purposes, I'm speaking about ChatGPT in this episode. Um, but or like I said before, Canva Magic Write is another one. Anyway, there's all kinds of tools, and I'm just speaking about my experience with ChatGPT. So anyway, I opened it, I typed in something simple, and it was just like, wow, I can't believe how powerful this is. Was it perfect? No, but it gave me a starting point. It literally felt like magic. And now it's in my life every single day. I have the desktop, like the app or browser version. I have the app version. I use it to help me get my email newsletters organized and outlined. I use it for social media content planning. I've even asked it to help me like reword something more clearly, like in a text message to somebody. Like I have no shame, like it literally is my artificial brain. Um, I started out with the free version of ChatGPT, which was amazing. It did so much. It's kind of like when you look at the free version of Canva, the free version of Canva is really good, right? Um, and I used the free version of Canva for years before I upgraded to the next level. And that's what happened with ChatGPT. I was using the free version for years. I just recently upgraded to I think I have the plus level now. It's like $20 a month or something like that. But you don't need to start with that. Just start with the free one. Um, and I just can't believe how much I rely on it now, the way that we as a society have come to rely on Google, come to rely on and use social media, come to rely on and use text messaging, all these kinds of things. I really believe AI as a whole, certainly, but more specifically, these individual tools like ChatGPT, like, these other ones. I believe that is the next like stepping stone of just what will become normal. Um, in business, in life, in everything. And I just use it multiple times a day, and it's fantastic. So I want to talk a little bit about what people think AI is and like what it actually is. So let me say this. Like I said before, AI isn't some scary robot. Okay. You don't need to be super techy. You don't have to be like a tech bro. You don't have to talk like a programmer. It's like a super smart brainstorming partner who's available 24/7, who doesn't judge your typos and will literally help you get unstuck. And it's not about replacing your creativity, it's about unlocking it and harnessing it. And something that really helps me, although this might sound counterintuitive, I treat my ChatGPT helper like it's a person. I don't treat it like it's a robot. um, I jokingly refer to it as training your robot because it is. But when I interact with it and talk to it, very conversationally, like a friend, like a person, it, um, I get such better results. It becomes more natural. You're also training it on how you speak, um, and how you sound. And so that's another way that you don't need to overthink how to use the tool. Think of it like if you were literally going to ask a coworker a question, or you were going to ask an assistant or an intern for help, or a loved one. Like, literally don't even think about how to reword it and put it into robot speak. Just put a sentence, put a statement, put like how you would text somebody. I promise it will understand you. Um, and it's just fantastic for like, I do it, I use ChatGPT a lot to like do brain dumps of just, I'm overwhelmed. I have all these ideas, like, blah, 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 and type it all into there. And then I say, can you help me organize these projects? Can you help me organize these thoughts? Can you help me prioritize this project plan? Can you help me come up with a timeline to get this all done? Whatever the things are. And then it's cool too, because now that you've done the brain dump, ChatGPT has like captured and remembered what the frig you were trying to, keep in your active memory. And now it's kind of like, okay, like it's in this basket. I don't have to like worry about losing these thoughts. It's here. I can go back to it. Um, so moving on to three fun things you can do with ChatGPT today. So first of all, if you don't have an account, just go to chatgpt.com. And like I said, you could start with a free account. Um, and there's certainly like there's YouTube tutorials you can watch if you need to watch a quick video to see how it works, but you don't even need to do that in my opinion. Just sign up for an account. And if you're like, okay, Alicia, but now what do I do with it? Here's three things you can literally try right now. So number one, you can ask it to write a welcome email. So say you have a newsletter and or you have an email list, but you haven't developed a welcome sequence yet, or you don't have an official welcome email. ChatGPT is great for helping you come up with that. So what you would do is you would go into ChatGPT, and there's going to be like a search bar, or not a search bar, but like a prompt bar when you open up ChatGPT. It'll literally say, "What can I help with?" Like that's what I'm talking about. You're going to type right in there. And so you could start putting in a prompt. That's what it's called when you drop something into the chat, you are prompting ChatGPT to do something. You're asking it to do something, right? So for the welcome email, the prompt could be write a warm and friendly welcome email to a new subscriber of my handmade soap business. Mention our best sellers and include a thank you coupon. Boom, done. Um, and you'll see, like, once it spits out the answer, you can then say, cool, this is great for a first draft. I'd like to take another stab at it where we emphasize more of, this particular bullet point, or, oh, shoot, I meant to include info about my upcoming sale. Can you also include that? Um, Things like that. And it will basically go back and forth with you until you're happy. Um, and the cool thing too is that to make it an even better result, what you could do is when you're putting the first prompt in, you could add more context, and you could say, you know, this is who my ideal client is, and like explain them. This is what my ideal client is really looking for, and what the products that they love and need. Maybe they have dry skin, maybe they have kids with allergies. I'm using the soap business example for this, but basically, like, if you can front load ChatGPT with as much information and context uh, to teach its artificial brain about your business, your clients, your products, your services, your expertise, your skills, all of that stuff, you're going to get better and better and better results each time. And the other cool thing you can do too is when you're putting in that first prompt, you could also say, do you understand what I'm asking you? Please confirm before continuing. And you want to make sure that it, understands what you're asking, and it'll say, yep, got it. I understand you want me to do this, 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 this. I'm ready to continue when you are. And then you could say back, okay, this is the task. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's the help I need. Please ask me any questions you need me to answer in order for you to complete this task. So that allows ChatGPT to find the holes in its knowledge, or in the holes in its process, and it'll say, okay, before I draft this newsletter, I actually need to know the following pieces of information. Or it would be great if you could describe this, this, this for me. Basically, you guys are going back and forth like it's a person, right? Like it's an assistant, it's an intern, it's, someone on tech support, whatever. and you guys are going back and forth and you're answering questions for it, and it's coming up with content for you, and so on and so forth, until you have a draft of an email that you're happy with. Now, I just gave you a whole bunch of little mini tips in there. But you may find that boom, it got the first draft perfect. Like, you might be happy with the first draft and you might not need any additional context or tweaking or adjusting or anything, and that's fine. I'm just saying how you can teach it to learn your voice, learn about your business, get even more detail from you, and you're going to get better and better results. Okay, so asking it to write a welcome email, that's one example. Another thing you could ask it to do is help you plan your next Instagram carousel. So, say you're a health coach, your prompt could simply be, give me 5 creative carousel post ideas for a holistic health coach to educate and attract ideal clients. And it'll even help you with the actual captions. But again, as you work back and forth with it, as you load in more information about your business, your clients, your services, your packages, all that kind of stuff. Also, your point of view, your philosophy, your mission, your values, all of that becomes ways for it to customize its recommendations, its content, all of that kind of stuff. And then another thing you can do is rewriting something to sound more like you. So take something you already wrote, whether that's an email, a text message, a sales page, whatever. You could copy all of that, paste it into ChatGPT, and say, make this sound more casual and conversational, like a fun DM from a friend. And literally watch the glow up happening on your screen. And again, I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but I really want you guys to get this. The more that you tell it that, you know, I want this to sound more like me. Here's something I already wrote. I want it to sound like, we're two friends sitting on a couch chatting, or, we're two friends texting, whatever. The more that you do that, it's going to learn more and more how to respond. And another hack to this whole thing is, like, if you want it to really sound like you could pull a text message you sent somebody and paste that in and say, this is how I sound when I text. I want um, my next social media posts to be this vibe. Or you could also, like, pull a transcript from a podcast episode you were on or a video you were in and paste that transcript into ChatGPT and say, this is a transcript of a podcast episode where I was just talking off the cuff, or a video where someone was interviewing me and I was just chatting. And I want you to note how I speak, what are some of the quirks I have, what are some of the sayings I like to say, whatever. Um, I want my written content and my sales page and my marketing and all this to sound like how I talk verbally. And that can really start to um, form and curate a tone and a voice for everything that you then have ChatGPT help you with. Now, of course, I'm giving examples here about creating content or creating written wording and such, but you can also, like, you could ask ChatGPT for a pep talk on a hard day. Like, you literally can. You could just say, give me a motivational message about getting through burnout as a small business owner. Like, just try it. It's weirdly comforting. I get that it's just, it's technology talking to you, but, like, it really works. It really, really does. You could also say, just to get into the stuff that's not necessarily business related, you could be like, like, for example, I just used it uh, a couple days ago to help me figure out a spring cleaning plan for my apartment because I'm, like, freaking overwhelmed over here. Um, and I just front loaded it with as much information as I could, how many rooms, like, what is the main source of clutter, um, what are my storage options, like, blah, 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 blah. And it helps me come up with an actual doable plan that will not, kill me. You can use it for, hey, these are the ingredients I have in my fridge. What the frig can I make for dinner? You could say, hey, I'm going to Chicago for the first time next month. Like, what are some must visit places for people who love art? Or I'm going to Austin, Texas. Like, what are the best restaurants I need to try while I'm there? Or what's a great road trip from Maine to Florida? Like whatever. Um, it's great for that. It's great for certainly if you have, kids and a family and pets, like figuring out schedules, figuring out, who's dropping who at dance class and sports and, going to work and getting to the vet and all of these things. Like it can help with daily plans and schedules. And then, of course, going back to business, like the possibilities are endless. You can certainly help or have it help you with social media content planning, um, coming up with holes on your website, like what information is missing, um, what's out of date. You can start using it to help you develop your social media content pillars. You can start using it to help you with brand language. You can start using it for research, um, you know, maybe gathering intel on your ideal clients. Like it does so much and it does it so quickly. And the cool thing about ChatGPT is it organizes your queries, like your different chats by topic. So, like, for example, just using myself for example, I have one chat that's all about my podcast. Like, so everything where it helps me make show notes for each episode. We help brainstorm episode titles, getting the guests organized with questions and stuff. So I have a whole chat about that. I have a whole chat about my upcoming workshop, which I'm going to talk about in a second. I told you about my spring cleaning plan. That's one. Um, I have one about my social media course. I have one about my business sisterhood, the mini mind, keeping things organized in there. I have a whole section about the holiday campaign I did over Christmas, like my virtual advent calendar campaign. I have all kinds of different chats in here, and it's just fantastic. So why did I make this upcoming workshop, which, by the way, is happening on Thursday, March 27th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. But if you cannot attend live, you get a recording sent after the fact as well, so you can watch it anytime. So I just want to make sure you know that. Um, so I created this workshop, which is called Easy with AI, because I know what it's like to juggle all the things and wish you had help, but not knowing where to start or how to make it sound like you. And so this workshop is going to be your shortcut. It's not techy, it's not overwhelming, and it's not about making you sound like a robot. It's about helping you save hours each week, ditch the blank screen, infuse your actual voice into everything you create, and finally feel like content isn't stealing all your time. So, we're going to cover some of my exact strategies, some of my favorite prompts, and like sneaky ways that I use AI that most people overlook. And so the workshop's coming up very soon. It's coming up on Thursday. You can grab your seat right now at aliciayurvis.com/AI workshop. And hey, I've got a promo code just for listeners of this episode. So if you use code PODFRIEND, that's PODFRIEND at checkout, you get a sweet discount. I'm gonna save you $30 on the workshop because I got you. So whether you're an AI newbie or you're just curious about what all the buzz is about, let's satisfy your curiosity, okay? Come to this workshop. I really hope this episode got your wheels turning. And remember, start small, play with a prompt or two, and then come to that workshop where I'm going to show you how to exactly make it work for you and show you more tricks and hacks to get better results. So one last time, that link is aliciayurvis.com/AI workshop and use code PODFRIEND to save $30 when you book your seat. So until next time, remember, business doesn't have to be so hard, especially when you've got a little help from AI. All right, my friend, talk soon and see you there. Happy prompting.